This season, Instacart has your back to school. As in, they've got your back to school lunch favorites like snack packs and fresh fruit. And they've got your back to school supplies like backpacks, binders, and pencils. And they've got your back when your kid casually tells you they have a huge school project due tomorrow. Let's face it, we were all that kid. So first, call your parents to say I'm sorry, and then download the Instacart app to get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes all school year long. Get a $0 delivery fee with your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 an order. Additional terms apply.
Millions of people have lost weight with personalized plans from Noom. Like Evan, who can't stand salads and still lost 50 pounds.
Salads generally for most people are the easy button, right? For me, that wasn't an option. I never really was a salad guy. That's just not who I am. But Noom worked for me.
Get your personalized plan today at Noom.com. Real Noom user compensated to provide their story. In 4 weeks, the typical Noom user can expect to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week. Individual results may vary.
We all belong outside. We're drawn to nature. Whether it's the recorded sounds of the ocean we doze off to, or the succulents that adorn our homes, nature makes all of our lives, well, better. Despite all this, we often go about our busy lives removed from it. But the outdoors is closer than we realize. With AllTrails, you can discover trails nearby and explore confidently. With offline maps and on-trail navigation, download the free app today and make the most of your summer with AllTrails.
Hey, I'm Julian Morgans, and you're listening to What It Was Like, the show that asks people who have lived through big, dramatic events what it was like. Hello, it's me coming to you from Melbourne, Australia. I'm not in Europe, where, according to my Instagram, just everyone's in Europe at the moment, which is a little annoying. And I'm not in Paris, where today the 2024 Summer Olympics kicks off. By the way, over the next few weeks, we're going to be featuring a few really fun Olympic stories. So that's something to look forward to. But this week, we're not doing that. This week, we're doing a mob story. We're headed to New Jersey in the early 1980s, where a teenager named Aiden Gabor became an enforcer for the mob. He worked with them for a few years until one day the cops caught up with him and they gave him an ultimatum. Either become an informant or go to jail. But here's the twist. The police weren't using Aiden to spy on the mob. They wanted him to become a cop and to spy on corrupt, crooked cops. We'll get into why later on in the interview, but I just want to say I love this story. And I think I love it because it's just like a movie. If you've seen Martin Scorsese's classic Goodfellas, you'll know this world. Or it's the world of Atlantic City, or it's The Sopranos. Anyone raised on Hollywood knows the suits. You know the accents. You know the random acts of violence featuring baseball bats. I think this world is so familiar that it's almost a little unreal. Like it's so mythologized that it's actually dissolved into myth. So when I got an opportunity to interview Aiden, I jumped at it. And I think I've said this before and in some other episode, but I just love it when stories, real life stories, when they feel like movies. And it's because I like drawing out the parts of these stories that Hollywood missed out on. You know, the parts that are too complicated. They're a bit lumpy. They're a bit unsexy. And I think there's lots of that today. As you'll hear, Aiden's story it's hardly about accruing money and power. Instead, he developed a heavy drinking problem, and he began playing games of Russian roulette. He'd sit down by himself, and he'd put a bullet in his gun, just for amusement, and he'd flick the cylinder around, and then he'd put it against his head, and he'd pull the trigger, just to see if he was going to live or die, just to feel something. And I think that it's this kind of spiritual desolation is the thing that Hollywood doesn't quite land. How eventually, violence and power, they look cool at the start of a movie, but eventually they're just empty kilojoules. I'm going to hand it over to Aiden now. And What you're going to hear is his voice, but it's been slightly digitally altered, and that's for his security. Apparently, there's still some people out to get him. But what you're also going to hear today is what finally brought his life some meaning, something more than the violence and the stuff that sells at the box office, something that actually mattered. So to tell you that story, here is Aiden Gabor. Hello, Aiden. Welcome to the show.
Julian, thank you for having me. Pleasure being on.
So most of us associate the East Coast mob with Italian crime families, but you're not in fact Italian. You're Hungarian. So can you give us a bit about your background and how you got involved in this business?
My parents were both Hungarian. They both came to the United States after the revolution, or during the revolution, or at the end of it. My dad was an associate with known crime guys and doing stuff with them. And as a child, we used to have gatherings where the women from the old country would come in and they would make food and everything. And the kids, we'd be out there playing. And most of the kids were older than me, but I was pretty good size for my age. And we get little scuffles, little fights and wrestling and beating the crap out of each other. And as we did that, I was younger, I was like 9, 10. I would go in there, we had Eddie, which is like the cabone with the area.
He's the boss.
Yeah, he would tell us, hey, go get me a drink, and learn from a young age respect. When the elders ask you, you give them respect, the elders. And one day he said, Aiden, come to the shop. Stop by, I got something for you to do. You know where it's at. And it was a town over, and I'm like, oh, yeah. And I rode my bike over there, and it'd be a classic chop shop where they would get stolen cars and chop them. And I would go in there, and he showed up, and he goes, here, Aiden, do me a favor, drop this off, take your bike, and drop it, don't look in it, and then come back and tell me you dropped it off. And he would give me 20, 30, 40 bucks. And at that time, I would run to the candy store with my buddies, and, we lived like kings. As I was getting older, I was like 14 going on 15, and we had this Dominic, which was Eddie's right-hand man, I guess you'd call him. He was his main enforcer. He pushed me, and I hit the ground, and something just snapped. And I grabbed a pole or something, and I whacked him as hard as I can. And I remember him turning around and pointing the gun right in my face. And I mean, I don't know, but next thing I know, he's telling him, stop, it's enough. You know what? And I told me, he said, you gotta give respect. You need to earn that. Well, doesn't matter. You need respect. We're a family. Respect. Don't do that. That just doesn't, no. And I worked my way up, when I was 15, when I was 16, I stole a couple cars, brought it to them. They taught me how to do that. I learned how these guys taught me how to drive. Nick was if Nick got involved in something, we call him Nicky. It was the end all for whoever the person was. And he taught me how to use an ice pick. And he's like, you grab them right here, and this is what you do. And always carry one, because you could hit somebody 4, 6, 7 times, stab it, go through a vest, and you could run. It doesn't leave prints. And that was really my start of it. But I had a temper on me. I remember I grabbed a guy one time, and at that time I was going back 14, and they were really laying into this guy. I thought, I want to make myself. So this guy, I grab him, drag him across. I was beating the crap out of him. They're like pulling me away from him. I stuck him in a vice, and they're like, no. I pull him out. Everybody jokes about, the movies that, oh, you guys, we weren't rocket scientists. We had what was in hand. It was a chop shop.
Right. So it feels to me like in your early years, you really lived a double life. In some ways, it seems like you came from a relatively traditional family. Your mother made goulash, but then on the other hand, you're running with the mob and putting guys' heads in vices. Can you tell me a bit about that contrast? I want to hear about being a loving son at home.
That was just life to me, because it was my family. That's how we really learned respect. We learned the family. You take care of your family. It really wasn't, different. And, later in life, I found out I was diagnosed with no empathy for people. and borderline sociopath.
Okay.
And I don't know what borderline even means. I just know my wife and I can't watch, even when I was younger, my ex, I couldn't watch horror movies because I laughed through the whole thing. If someone's getting their arm broken and snapping, I laughed. I think it's funny to this day. I don't know why. To me, it's funny. I mean, all of it. If someone's just, and people are getting their blown up or shot. I mean, to me, it's fun. I didn't have to see, I would feel, oh, it is what it is, or it sucks to be them. That was my whole thing.
Wow.
I mean, when I was a kid, I never was worried about dying. I didn't care. And never really thought about it. And
That's so interesting to me. Did you ever recognize any signs of psychopathy in either of your parents?
no, what I did learn, and I'm telling you, I just learned about this a couple of years ago. I'd say about 5 years ago from my father. My dad and I don't have a great relationship. I mean, I'll tell you a little bit later why. But my dad told me that my mother growing up, now they grew up in Budapest during the Germans, during the Russians, and the Russians did bad things to my mother and her sisters when they took over Budapest. My dad said the scariest person he ever knew was my mother because my mom actually carried a long spear-like thing. And the Russians coming over at night, usually, my dad said, and they would show up and kind of, ooh, okay, little girl talking to her. And she'd stab him right through the neck and get him and run. You know, I read a book somebody gave me, I cannot remember the woman's name, and she said that what your parents do as a child could be hereditary. That what if they've done very violent things, it could be hereditary, you know? And my dad said he doesn't even know the number. Hundreds of Russian soldiers. They were just blowing them up, shooting them. My mom got a joy out of every one of them because I understand, you know, what they did to her, the rape and everything they did to my young mother at the time.
Wow. So you're suggesting that your mother's experiences, sort of warding off rapists, imprinted themselves somehow in her genetic code, which was passed on to you.
Yeah, I read a book from this woman. I cannot think of her name. She's a PhD. It really got me when this is after my dad told me I read this. But my mom lived a very violent past. My father lived a violent past. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't know. It's just the way I am. So, you know, who knows? But I did that for a long time. And then when I was like 18, Eddie came up to me and the FBI was arresting everybody. And he comes up to me and goes, you haven't been arrested. You have a chance. You have a chance to play football in college. And he says, go do it. Go play ball. Go. You know, you need to go do something. You know, everybody's going to jail. I said, yeah, Eddie. You know, and I did not realize at the time, that's the last time I ever saw the man. And, you know, he, you know, for several years of my life, he basically raised me.
He was like a bit of a surrogate father.
Yeah, I saw him almost every day, you know. I'm like, you know, and I go to college to play football, and I'm sitting there at the dorm, and these two clowns show up in these polyester suits, and I'm looking at them and say, okay.
Let's slow this down a little bit because this is an important part of the story. So my understanding is you're out playing football one day and you come back to your dorm room and there's two figures wearing suits in your room. Talk to me about what happened next.
They were sitting there in polyester suits, and I'm looking like, okay, what? And they're, hey, we need to talk. I said, no, we don't need to. And they're like, yeah. And they flashed their little whatever. And I'm like, that's cute. And they're like, no, we need to talk. You can go to jail. You know what? I'm thinking at first, no, but I'm thinking, you know what do these guys want? So I did the fisting. I said, yeah, okay, whatever. So we went with, let's go get some coffee. Went to this restaurant. I remember had this greenish blue roof. Went in, ordered coffee, and they're sitting there. Not much conversation. They're never very talkative. Throws an envelope because check out these pictures. You'll love these pictures. I'm thinking, what the fuck? They're pictures. So pictures of me with Eddie, me with Dominic, me with Nikki, a couple others.
Yeah.
And then my dad with them. My dad worked with my dad doing stuff with them. And I'm like, okay, no, And then they show my mom with Eddie, my mom with Dominic, my mom driving with Eddie, doing something. Their family. You picked each other up. You took care. My mom needed to go someplace. My dad wasn't there.
These are all undercover photos.
These are ones, from the DOJ. So I'm looking, and they're like, well, you're looking at a lot of time in jail, like 7 years for this new law. It's called RICO. And I'm like, what? Yeah, look it up. You're a college boy. Go look it up in your library, RICO law. Go look it up. It's brand new. It's going to work great. I go, what's going on? He goes, you're looking at it. Your dad's looking. I'm thinking, I don't care. And then they go, your mother's looking at 50 years for association with. I'm like, wait, what? I go, what are you talking about? My mom. What are you talking about? What's going on? Nothing worried me until they said my mother. Now, I don't know about anybody else. I think every man in this world has been a mama's boy, because I was. I called my mom every day till she passed. And I was a mom boy. Boy, that struck me. I was like, wait, what? Yeah, your mom's going to go to prison. And so, no, that made, like, I got kicked in the nuts. And I'm like, what? So they really didn't say much after that. So let's go. We're done. Dropped me. I said, hey, we'll get to contact you a little bit. Let you think about it. And then they show up, these two clowns, again. We go do the same little frickin' routine. And they're like, hey, so this is what we want. We want you to party your way out of school, play with the college girls, 4-year-olds, do what you got to do, have good times, make a couple kids, that type of shit. We'll even give you some money to party your way out of school. And after school's over, we'll talk to you and we'll explain what we want. I'm like, what? This is what we ask of you.
Well, hold on. So let me just get this straight. So they gave you a wad of cash and told you to party so that you would flunk school, so it wouldn't look like it wouldn't look suspicious if you were failing your classes. Is that right?
I guess they just wanted me out of school. We gave up, whatever dream I may have had. It didn't matter. So I did it. I played with the girls. I screwed up class, and then I got home. So about a week after I got home, they show up, and then they tell me I really just got a note, said meet me at this. It was a couple towns over, like a 15-minute drive. So I drive out there. Another hole-in-the-wall restaurant. And they're like, hey, this is what we want you to do. Want to make sure you want to stay out? We're going to need you to do something. We need you to get information. We want you to go and get on this police department. And I looked at them and said, what? You fucking serious? And they're like, yeah, we want to get on this police department where there's somebody on there we want to look at, but we want you to get on. And I'm like, because, yeah, you want me to go to jail. But you're going in as an informant. No backup, no nothing. And then we'll tell you what we want. We want information. And I'm like, fuck. So I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever.
This seems surprising, right? Because they want you to inform on the cops. They're not asking you to inform on the mob.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm thinking, but everybody I was involved in went to jail. And that was kind of throwing me off. And so I'm like, oh, whatever. And it wasn't one of those where, hey, if you don't get on, this is what they just said, get on. There was no B plan. There was a plan, and that's it. Everybody asked me, well, what happens if you didn't get on? Don't know. Because back then, if you weren't an idiot and you were physically fit, you can get on the police department back then. It's a little more, not quite as stringent as it is today.
There was no screening process.
And there is, but it wasn't like it is today. And I got on. And then I meet up with these two clowns again, Dumber and Dumber. And they said to me, they go, okay, we want you to look on this guy, Terry. He's a cop's been there several years. We think he's doing hits for a mob thing. I'm like, you guys aren't serious. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, no, that's what we want. You need to freaking do this, and this is what we want. We want information. We want to know if he is or if he isn't. So I get on, and I'm sitting there at roll call. They were roll call, what you could do before you shipped. And
so roll calls in like the police office. I'm imagining you in your uniform.
Yeah, you're sitting there, and they tell you, okay, you're going to be in this zone. You're going to be doing this. You're going to.
Right, okay.
And If you ever thought of a person with the most abrasive personality in the world, that was this Terry. He was just the biggest dick in the world. And a loner. Everybody's like, oh, fuck it, asshole. So I sat there one day after a couple months. I said, you know what? I'm going to go I'm going to go. Then nobody wanted to be his partner. I switched. I'll go with him. This one guy kind of became friends with, looks at me and he goes, why the fuck are you talking to this guy? He's a fucking asshole. Yeah, he is, but you know what? You never know. We're going to raise someone. He might be all right. Rode with him, like, they're like, what's it like riding with him? Go, he's all right. He's not as bad as he seems. I hate him. And the guy was an asshole.
What was it like riding with him? I mean, what was he on about?
He was just a dick. He was an arrogant. I hate arrogance. Me, the biggest thing in the world is arrogance. And arrogance and disrespect. He was a drinker, though. So that's what started my part of my downfalls. We go out drinking. I mean, he was which eventually I became. He was a gulper. Didn't enjoy drinks. Just 2 seconds. There it is. Let me go get another one. So he get plastered. And after a couple of months getting plastered, he looks right at me. He goes, I know you. I'm like, what? Yeah, you know. And they go, I know you when you were younger. I'm like, what do you mean you freaking know me? You ran with Eddie and them. You ran with that crew. I'm like, you know what? It's like, okay, shut the fuck up. So he's just talking to me about it. And I'm looking and he goes, yeah, that's what I want to do, man. I want to get I got a crew out here, guys, I'm talking to and doing stuff. I'm like, all right, I don't want to hear it. You know, shut the fuck up. Let's just have drinks and enjoy, man. A couple more times we went out. These guys open. He said, you know, I'm doing stuff for him. I did a couple hits for him. I'm like, what? Shut the fuck up. So one night we go back to his place and he's telling me about all the shit he's doing. I got a guy and I shot him in the back of the head. And then the first one I got to work and I was the first one on call there. I'm like, fuck, that's pretty good. You do that and you're the first one there? Man, that's impressive. But I just thought, that's what I thought to myself. But I said, man, just shut the fuck. So he's telling me this. And then he said some other shit he was doing. And then one night his wife's in there, we went out drinking, she's just crying, and we got drunk, and she's just, oh, I can't take it anymore. He said he knows you, that you did things, you know. So we went to the house, and she's just bawling about, you know, she doesn't know if she could take it, and I don't know. And I'm like, you need to deal with it, shut up, that's your husband, blah, blah, blah. So after another couple months, I get the clowns again. I go back to him, tell him, hey, you know what? Yeah, this fucker said he did it. You want me to testify, but I'll tell you right now, the wife's done. She's already psychologically and everything just screwed. She'll cave in a second. She'll come to you with it. And I'm going to tell you right now, she'll cave on him in a second. All right, go see me test. No, we don't. I'm like, wait, what? We don't. You're one and done if you testify. A couple weeks later, all hell breaks loose. And I'm at home. Hey, they arrested Terry. I'm like, what? Yeah, man, they got him. The FBI's here. They said he's doing hits. I go, you shitting me? He goes, yeah, man, that's your man. I go, no, I don't know about this shit. He goes, well, at that point, it's like rats leaving the ship. Guys are leaving the department. And so I left. I got on, but first, before I got on, I went and saw the mayor. Now, the mayor's one of the guys I used to bring packages when I was a kid to, and picking up packages. He was dirty as can be. And the same thing with the commissioner. So they looked at me and go, Aiden, you want to be on here? He goes, yeah, you were at the Sunday? Yeah, I don't want to be there. The FBI's all over the fucking place. Yeah, we heard about that. Okay. You going to toe the line? Sir? I'm like, you're going to toe the line? Do what you're going to do what you're told? Or, yes, sir. What do you need me to do? All right. Yeah, we know you'll toe the line. You come from good stock. We're going to like you. Yeah, you'll be perfect. So I got on.
Hey, we're just going to stop here for a quick ad break, but stick around. We'll be right back with more What It Was Like.
Millions of people have lost weight with personalized plans from Noom. Like Evan, who can't stand salads and still lost 50 pounds.
Salads generally for most people are the easy button, right? For me, that wasn't an option. I never really was a salad guy. That's just not who I am. But Noom worked for me.
Get your personalized plan today at Noom.com. Real Noom user compensated to provide their story. In 4 weeks, the typical Noom user can expect to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week. Individual results may vary.
Why don't more infant formula companies use organic, grass-fed whole milk instead of skim? Why don't more infant formula companies use the latest breast milk science? Why don't more infant formula companies run their own clinical trials? Why don't more infant formula companies use more of the proteins found in breast milk? Why don't more infant formula companies have their own factories instead of outsourcing their manufacturing? We wondered the same thing. So we made ByHeart, a better formula for formula. Learn more at byheart.com.
Hi, this is Farnoosh Tarabi, host of the Webby-winning podcast, So Money. If you're aiming for a goal, be it saving for a house, growing your family, or retiring, life makes it difficult to stay the course. But with a dedicated Merrill advisor, you get a personalized plan and a clear path forward. Having the bull at your back helps your whole financial life move with you. So when your plans change, Merrill's with you every step of the way. Go to ml.com/bullish to learn more. Merrill, a Bank of America company. What would you like the power to do? Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, registered broker-dealer, registered investment advisor, member SIPC.
Can I just say that it seems to me that the corruption at this time seems really blatant. It's not like anyone's trying to be sneaky about it. They're just like, are you going to toe the line? You're going to be a corrupt cop like us?
Well, because I grew up in that thing. They knew me. So what I eventually figured out years later when I was going through and I was talking to my buddy Don and stuff, is they wanted to throw a snake in a snake pit. Somebody they wouldn't think would turn on them, but, because they knew shit. So I knew shit I did, and getting shit happen. So that's what I did. And I did that for close to 14 years, taking down politicians and bad cops.
So was this all an idea that was born out of the FBI, like getting you to snitch on people on the inside?
I have no idea. All I know is that they didn't want anything with the FBI. This is DOJ. Even though they technically worked together, and so I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I think they just wanted somebody who can get on the inside and get them information. They didn't just want you to get it and testify. They wanted to take down and use the information as long as they were getting it to take them down. And that's how I looked at it. During this whole process, I became an alcoholic, an extreme, bad alcoholic.
Tell me about that. What was the catalyst there?
Well, I couldn't talk about it. I couldn't tell my wife, and my wife I couldn't tell anyway because she went running right to her family and told her family everything. And they had several, and they were in the town. And so I didn't trust her. I didn't trust her family. It was killing me inside. And I was drinking, heavily drinking. And I would get hallucinations of St. Michael coming at me with this flaming sword, saying, "You betrayed," and slicing me. Vivid, and I see it. And I'm freaking out. And during this time, I was trying to kill myself. I had a 357 Magnum. I would put a round in it and spin it and put it in my mouth or my temple or underneath my neck, and I'd pull that trigger. And I remember at least
playing Russian roulette.
Yeah, at least 200 times doing that.
200?
I wanted to. Yeah, at least. That's what I remember. And there's times I wake up and the gun's next to me, and there's a couple times that had 3 rounds in it. Some reason God's like, yeah, we're not going to let you kill yourself. Don't worry about it. We got plans.
That is bizarre that you survived. That's really
I don't know how.
Against the odds.
I'm just telling you. I just remember waking up with the gun in my hand, just coming out of stupors. Don found me a couple times in these Fleabag motel. He found me one time, dragged me home when I was being tried to help me, and I never could talk about it, and I knew it, and it was killing me. I can't explain how much I wanted to die, but I had to keep doing what I was doing, and I'm thinking, okay, if I didn't die today, it's because God needed me today. And I was not a religious person. I didn't think quite that way. I'm thinking there's a reason for this. I used to joke, I work for the other guy. And I did. I got bad. I was trying to kill myself. But, now I could say God had a reason.
Can I just ask, what do you feel like was the source of your depression?
I couldn't talk about it. I was betraying everybody. I was betraying my family, not talking about, was betraying law enforcement, my brother and sisters in there. And it was just killing me inside, not being able to talk about it. It was a very whole, very, very dark. And I was a dark person to start with. So imagine darker than dark. That's where I was, you know?
Was there any? I mean, was this a product of the time and place as well? Though? I mean, I'm assuming there wasn't much of a culture of get a good counselor and talk about your feelings.
You know, even if there was, I wouldn't have went.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in it. You don't talk about it. You don't do anything. You know, I grew up respect to women, respect. You know, this don't respect law enforcement. You know, when I was younger, and family. Don't betray the family. You know, I'm going to say to this day, I never said a word against the crew I ran with.
Yeah. So talk to me about how you managed to claw your way out of this black hole. I mean, you sound like you were horribly depressed, making fairly regular suicide attempts.
What happened was, after everything started going down, the last part of it, they were like, okay, we got everybody we needed over there. I left.
The police did, as in, like, your bosses said to you, we're done.
Yeah, you were done. The DOJ guy's like, okay, we want you to go here. It was a casino. I'm like, now a casino? I don't like casinos. No, we just want you to check out these guys over there. And I'm like, okay, go there. And these guys were like frat boys. They weren't doing anything. And I tell them. And just like that with them, they just, peace out. We're done. Here's a stipend. Bye. The DOJ just said, that was it, the end of it. We're done. They got what we want out of you. You know, and I remember that. And then, they gave me some money. My ex thought it was when I got injured, because we told her I got injured, and then she freaking gave all the money to her sister, which that was the end of our lives together. And I said, what am I going to do? I might as well fucking just stay here. And that's where I met my current wife, Sabrina. And it's one of those, you talk to her first, thought, man, this woman's a bitch. Boy, I like her.
Yeah.
That's exactly how. Oh, I like her, and that's where I met her. And yeah, she's. It was a love that she gave me, and she changed my life. And she used to tell me, "You need something spiritual." I'm like, no. So what happened with her was, as I'm sitting there several years ago, I was having night terrors. I was throwing her around, screaming, punching the wall. I had her pretend handcuffed. I had her down. She's calling my buddy Don and Sam. She goes, he is just, I don't know what's going on with them. There's something going on. We need to, you guys need to come talk. So they flew out. We had a long conversation. Don could only stay a little bit. He was still working. And he's like, come on, you need spirituality. And I don't believe in this bullshit. And then Sam, same thing. And Sam, what he did was he introduced me, he goes, read this, Abdul Baha'i. It's the Baha'i faith. Read it. He goes, there's everything in here that you believe a lot of, because when we were talking, I believe that men and women are equal, because if you live with, and you're married, or your mom, who runs the household? The wife or the mother? So I believe men and women are equal. In some religions, the woman is subservient to the man. And in the Baha'i faith, everybody's equal. Black, white, pink, purple, green, whatever. You're all equal. And I started reading on the Baha'i faith. And one day I was sitting out in the sun. Beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky. And I'm looking up, and I get this feeling. I can't explain it. There's a warm feeling in my stomach. I hated it. I hated this feeling. I'm like, what the hell is this feeling? This sucks. And I felt different. And I walked in, so I read some more, went out there and feeling it some more, and I'm like, God, I think there's something wrong with me. And I'm explaining to Sabrina. She goes, no, you're reading the Baha'i faith. You're getting your spirituality. I go, fuck off. She's like, no, seriously.
The Baha'i faith, is it sort of like an offshoot of Islam?
No. Baha'i faith was in Persia. It's from Persia. And what it is, Abdul Baha'i, it's the youngest faith there is, technically, out there. And in 1846, Abdul Baha'i, or the Bab, he was preaching And he was one of the messengers. Now, everybody messengers, we all believe in God, the same God. It's just different messengers. We're all equal, but we all see the same God. And I really believe, I really am believing that. I am really like thinking, I've been reading it, and it's something I really, really agree with. So it's become of mine. I found I have ALS, so I always say God's got a sense of humor. That's why he didn't let me kill myself, because he's going to let me have fun the other way.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I think it's funny too. I mean, come on. He's got a sense of humor. I'm getting what I deserve. You're just desserts. And so I used to not care about dying. I didn't care if I died. I would laugh, try to get myself. People point guns at me. I can't tell you how many times a gun put in my face. I'd laugh at them or slap it out, get them down with it and stuff. And now I want to live because I want to make this place make the world better. That's what I want to do. I want to get out there and let people understand we can stop racism. We can stop anti-Semitism. We're all equal. Give me time just to do that.
Is that a new development in your life? I mean, it seems to me that when you were younger, when you were putting people's heads in vices, you weren't motivated by a desire to make the world better.
Oh, no. I was just having fun. That's how I looked at it. Boys would be boys. And then, I enjoyed the power. I enjoyed the respect. Police officer, I enjoyed putting these freaking clowns away because they were not good, working the gangs, doing shit like that. And then, the high face has only been a couple of years, but, about 5, more than that, about 5 years. But, throughout this whole process, Sabrina went through the whole process with me for 3 years. She stayed her Catholic beliefs. But yet she would go through the classes with me. She would do the Zooms with me. She would study with me. She knows more about the Baha'i faith than I do. But yet she does not want, and it's her love for me. And I understand that, my God, I found my love of my life. And God, okay, we're going to put her in her life. I don't know what she did wrong, but we're going to put her in her life to be with you. She screwed up somewhere. And to take care of you.
I mean, it sounds to me like you're attributing, I don't know, your newfound redemption, your faith, and maybe your sense of happiness to your wife. I mean, it feels to me like you found this woman, Sabrina, you fell in love, and your world has changed.
Oh, it has. She is we're opposite, but we're not. And she is everything to me. I mean, and she doesn't judge me. She never judged me. She knows about 90%, 95%. And she doesn't judge me. She goes, that's a different person. That's a different Aiden. And we're just going to make you better. We're going to go forward. And, she never, looked at me. She knew there was something different about me, but I would never lie to her. I would always say to her, it was on my mind. I'm going to tell you it. The other thing is too, this is my dad taught me this when I was young. Eddie did too. If a girl likes you for you, then she'll pay for the date. She paid for her first 8 dates.
Wow.
Because she's like, what is your problem? You never had money. I just am going through divorce. But she didn't mention when I told her what it was. She hit me a couple times. Thought I was a jerk at that point, but she liked me for me, and I found that out.
Yeah. But it seems to me that there's a through line here. There's a constant thing that we keep coming back to. Now, you've said the word respect. I don't know if I had to count, maybe like 50 times in this conversation. It's a virtue that really appeals to you, that means a lot to you.
Yes,
and I
sir.
just wanted to unpack that. I don't know, what is it about respect that is so important to you?
Well, it's respect for all people. Growing up, we held the door open for a lady. You respected your elders. Respect is a two-way thing. You give me respect, I give you respect. And that's how it works. You disrespect me and I'm going to fuck you up. That's how it is,
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. It's just like, people ask questions. Well, I'm not going to answer a question because I never broke bread with you. I don't know who the F fuck you are. We really don't know each other, but respect wise, I'm going to say yes, sir, no, sir. It's a respect. Nowadays, these young kids nowadays, they have no respect. You may find some, but 80% of the world has no respect. They have never been taught it. And I was taught respect until they don't give you respect, then you don't give it back. And then you beat it out of them. Just like arrogance. Arrogance is disrespectful to people.
To you, is respect the same thing as manners?
Yes, manners is there too. Manners is part of it. Miss Manners isn't taught anymore. Manners is just, you should just have your manners with you. Now, granted, I don't have the greatest manners in the world. I never went through Miss Manners and learned it. But the difference between manners and respect. Respect is more of, I'm not going to talk shit about you or down to you when we're having a conversation. Where manners is more of, I'm going to do this, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, to a point. But respect for each other is that we're equal. You're not above me. I'm not above you. Manners is just what you need to do. But respect is we're equal until you make us not equal at that point. You're not better than me. I'm not better than you. It's like this entitlement. Entitlement, nobody has entitlement. No one's entitled to anything in life. You have to earn it, and you have to earn respect. That's how it works. And these people, entitlement is another problem we have in this world too.
Yeah, there's plenty of that. So, I mean, it feels to me like the thread in respect that is really important to you is actually about equality. It's about no one's above you, no one's below you. We're all on an equal playing field. Does that feel about right?
Yeah. Back in the day when we would deal with the gangbangers, I'm not a big fan of them, but when we respected each other, then we had a mutual understanding. And if you did things as business and you respect it, you didn't come up to them talking all ghetto to anybody when you're talking. You can have a point, that's how you talk, but you talk in a respectful way. There's a difference. When I was running with the crew, they would talk to me differently than when I was a police officer, which is just the stigma. And I understood that, yeah. But that's how I look at it. It's respect. I'm not above you in any way, shape, or form. The only time that's going to happen is just like if we had an issue with somebody in the movies, they would put back when I ran with the crew, oh, well, they're going to kill that person. No, it's not good business. You would give them a reason to bring it. Break a finger, an ankle, something. They're going to bring you the money because the next time, right? There has been some disrespect, but most of the people that would get killed are other crews.
When you're beating the crap out of someone, where does your head go? What are you thinking about?
Honestly, just, where am I going to go get something to eat? Nothing. Hey, you know what? This guy's getting what he deserves. Sucks to be him. That's it. Half the time I don't even remember him thinking. I did remember a couple times. Damn, that down the street, that might be a good place to go pick up something to eat afterwards. Or no, I'm getting bored with this guy already. Let me get this done with. I mean, I'm really not much thinking other than this clown's getting what he deserves. And then I tell him what you need to do.
You never had a moment where, let's say, you gave someone some sort of permanent injury, and you were like, "Damn, probably went a bit far that time." Was there any sort of pangs of regret during the process?
No, I did get told. Yeah, you were a little overboard there, buddy. I did. I didn't think so. yeah, you did. Damn, it sucks to be him. That didn't bother me. No, this day doesn't bother me. Everybody asks you regrets. No. Maybe when the polyester clown showed up, I could tell him to get fucked. Then, but I don't know where I'd be. I'd probably be dead right now. So, and I wouldn't have probably met Sabrina. I wouldn't have had the Baha'i faith. So not really,
Did you ever? I mean, it sounded to me like when you were describing all these night terrors that you were getting, you wake up in a cold sweat and you've been like wrestling the sheets. I mean, that sounds a little bit like PTSD to me. Would you say that's right? Was there anything that haunted you?
I'm not sure if we would call it PTSD. I've talked to veterans. I would always talk to anybody because I think I went through my suicidal state that you need to talk to somebody. And some veterans I've talked to have been through some really hairy, nasty battles. I just can't understand exactly what they went through, as if they can't understand what I went through, but we got to kind of get a close gist. And yeah, I think I may have a little bit of it. I do have, the night terrors. I still have that. I carry a gun and an ice pick on me to this day, no matter where I'm at 24/7.
In your pocket?
Yeah, right here. I got ice pick, and then I got my 6 hours sitting right next to me as we speak. Got it right here.
What for?
So, just because I don't trust anybody. I don't trust anybody. It's hard for me to, I got inner circle. You got people you have an inner circle with. But as far as, I'm going to be honest with you, I pulled my gun several times. Nowadays, you can't drive. There's guys behind me arguing over at a traffic stop. The guy gets out with a freaking rifle and right in front of me. And I pulled out, I said, you get back in your car. I would, because he was looking at the guy behind me. I'm like, I would strongly suggest that right now you get back in your car because I will shoot you. And he got the gist, got in his car and left. You just don't know how people are nowadays, but I've had several attempts on me and I'm not going to take a chance.
Yeah. How do you feel when you watch gangster movies? When you watch the Goodfellas or you watch, I don't know, American Gangster a few years ago. What do you think?
Some are, Goodfellas is probably the closest. A couple make me laugh. But I think Goodfellas and Casino are probably the closest.
Okay.
That would be. And I just saw those, being honest with you. I really don't watch TV. I don't like politics, so I don't watch live TV. Politics in this country suck. There is nobody good to choose. It doesn't matter which side you are because you're wrong. It doesn't matter how you vote because they're going to fix it. So I watch documentaries. I watch documentaries from the, back in the dark days, medieval stuff. I don't watch, that's it. I don't really watch movies because I start laughing at them. My wife and I watch Goodfellas. I laughed at it. I thought it was funny. I go, yeah, no, that's kinky. Damn, I wish I would have thought of that. And she's like, what is your problem? And we don't really go out. We do and we don't. We don't go to movies, man. And it's also my personality. I don't trust anybody because, I think people are stupid. So that's just nowadays. They just too much people get mad easily over stupid things.
Yeah.
Which I did as a kid. So
If you still had the athleticism of a young man, do you think you'd still be in the game? You think you'd still be beating people up, or has your personality and the way that you operate in the world, has that changed?
If I had the athleticism, boy, it'd be a lot of things I'd be doing different. My wife would be happier. But let's put it this way. Yeah, I used to enjoy it. So probably, but I'm more, as you get older, you get wiser. And then
that's what I'm asking,
spiritualities, is now I believe we're all equal. Now, if it's business and there's a reason you disrespect my family or a good friend, and I have to have a chat with you, I'll be the first of any of my friends that I'll go up to you. I'm going to tell you, I've never been afraid of no man in my life. I've been afraid of two women in my life. I was afraid of my mother and I'm afraid of my current wife. Those are only two people scared the shit out of me. Everybody else, nobody, I'm not worried about anybody, I remember a long time ago, my buddy Don and I were talking. He thought, okay, got a question for you. I'm like, what's up, man? If somebody broke in your house and they came in, what would you do? I'd be like, thank God I got some target practice. He goes, because he had a friend of his that did it. He was a police. I mean, he couldn't do anything. He just froze. And he goes, would you still be able to do it? I go, fuck yeah, I'd do a heartbeat. I go, I tell him, I'd smile, thank you, and that'd be end of him. He goes, I thought you still had that in your eye. I could see it. I don't know if I have it anymore. And I looked at him. I don't think he's got it anymore. I think he's burned out. But, you know, if I had the athleticism and everything to do that again, I don't know. I don't think I mean, I loved running with the crew. It was a family. I would, I actually had a couple of years ago, about 5 years ago, somebody tried a friend, recruit my son, my youngest. And I had to go and I without telling my son, I had to go and meet up with this person. It was before he passed. It was somebody I used to run with, when last member of the crew.
Okay.
And he thought, well, my son needed money. And we had, I guess you can call it, come to Jesus meeting. And my son asked, he goes, what'd you do? And I go, what are you talking about? They won't call me anymore. Joey won't call me anymore. Oh, you kidding me? I heard you came up here. I go, no, I never came anywhere near you, son. And he's like, you're full of shit, Dad. I'm like, don't talk to me that way. And he's like, whatever, I think you did. Yeah, no, I didn't want my son to be in there. And my Sabrina laughed at me. She goes, wow, apple doesn't fall far from the tree, huh?
I mean, I'm really curious about that because you obviously didn't want your son to become part of the mob, which suggests to me that you've got some regrets about the life that you led. Let's unpack that. Why was it that you prevented your son from following in your footsteps?
It's different. It's different now. You don't know who to trust. The gangs are different. Law enforcement's different. The society's different in the whole. And then I think I'm going to be honest, spirituality, in my mind, yeah, I loved it. I mean, honestly, I'm like, wow, all right. Then I thought, no, he doesn't need to go through the shit I went through. I got lucky. I know I got lucky. I should have been dead 100 times over, if not 1,000 suicide attempts, non-suicide attempts 100 times over. And I don't want my kid to go through that. That was really the thing that really worried me is, it's a different world. It's not the same. And I don't want to lose my son.
Yeah.
And
it's understandable.
I think I think spirituality is what did it. Spirituality and finding Sabrina are the two things in my life that really has made me think more. And the wisdom, being old, that, hey, you don't need to go through the shit I went through.
Yeah. If you had your time over again, what changes would you make?
The only thing I would make is maybe saying, get fucked to the Dumb and Dumber when they came in. That is the only thing I would probably do.
You'd have gone to jail then instead of cooperating with the police?
I don't know. See, I don't know. That's the whole thing. Again, I think God said, yeah, dude, we're going to do this way. But no, I don't think I don't have any regrets. No.
I mean, now that you're a man of faith, do you have any concerns about your ability to get into the afterlife?
No, I know that in the high faith, we're going to a different spiritual plane. And all I have is when I do get my next one, since of everything I've done in this life, I have to work a lot harder to make up for the things I've done in this life. I'm going to have I won't start off as high up as I want to be. I'm going to start low as low can be and have to work my way up. And kind of, redemption yourself, I guess, is the way you look at it. But I'm going to go a different plane and just have to work my way up strong, and probably make me stronger at the end.
That's really interesting. I mean, is this like a sort of Buddhist reincarnation thing? Are you going to come back as like a snail or something?
No, we're not going to. We're not reincarnating. You understand that your soul, your vessel will die, which is your body. Your soul will go to a different plane. You may not remember the other plane, but you will remember that I need to get better. There's a reason that you're going to start where you're starting at, and you work your way up. And the Baha'i faith believes that it's not like when Catholics, like you're going to heaven or hell.
Yeah.
That's how the Baha'i faith is.
I've really just got one last question, and that is, well, it's kind of partially a statement, and that is I'm trying to figure out what the moral of the story here is. And usually when I talk to people who have lived a sort of violent life, the moral of the story is don't do what I did. But you seem to say that you had a pretty good time. You're enjoying yourself, a lot of it. So I'm trying to predict what the moral of the story here is.
The moral of the story is you can start in the dark. You could be the dark in the dark, there ain't damn light in front of you. You are blind, you're dark. Come out of the darkness. Come into the light and respect everybody and respect people. Everybody's equal. You can come out, It's easy being bad. Oh my God, it's so easy being bad. It is hell being good. That's the toughest thing in the world, is walking that straight line, because everybody wants to be bad because that's easy. That's the easy way out. But to make everything good, that's so hard. It takes a lot of just oomph to be good. And to be bad, fuck, that was fun. All right, let's do that again. That's a rush. But you can come out of that. And once you come out of it, you feel better. Go talk to a priest, a rabbi, whatever they do at the mosque, or anybody. And then, or go talk to a police officer or a psychologist, somebody that you could just talk to. But if you keep it inside you, that's the darkness. Darkness stays in you. It's when you bring it out into the light, you make the place better and makes you better.
Aiden, I think that's a wonderful place to finish. And thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with me, sharing your story with me. It's been an amazing chat, really.
Well, Julian, thank you so much. And it has been a pleasure being on with you, sir. Thank you again.
If you enjoyed today's interview, but you want some more details, more analysis of the time and place, then I'd recommend reading Aiden's book. It's called Conflicting Loyalties, and it's out right now. You can get it from conflictingloyalties.com or just all the usual online retailers, including Amazon. And finally, I want to highlight that Aiden was diagnosed with ALS in 2020. He briefly mentioned it in the show, but, it's a fatal type of motor neuron disease, and I know that Aiden appreciates all the support he can get. So if you've enjoyed his story, hit him up. Get in touch with him via his site, conflictingloyalties.com, or Conflicting Loyalties Book on Instagram. Just tell him that you're thinking of him. I'm sure he'd appreciate it. And thanks for listening. Please leave us a 5-star review on Apple and on Spotify. And we'd love it if you followed the show. And we're on TikTok. You should follow us there too. If you want to know what our guests look like, go and check it out. It's @ What It Was Like podcast. Today's episode was produced by Rachel Tuffery. It was mixed by Jimmy Saunders, who also did our theme music. Evie Atkins is our intern. Our cover art is by Naomi Lee Beveridge. And this whole thing has been a Super Real production.
Hi, this is Farnoosh Torabi, host of the Webby-winning podcast, So Money. If you're aiming for a goal, be it saving for a house, growing your family, or retiring, life makes it difficult to stay the course. But with a dedicated Merrill advisor, you get a personalized plan and a clear path forward. Having the bull at your back helps your whole financial life move with you. So when your plans change, Merrill's with you every step of the way. Go to ml.com/bullish to learn more. Merrill, a Bank of America company. What would you like the power to do? Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, registered broker-dealer, registered investment advisor, member SIPC.
Why don't more infant formula companies use organic, grass-fed whole milk instead of skim? Why don't more infant formula companies use the latest breast milk science? Why don't more infant formula companies run their own clinical trials? Why don't more infant formula companies use more of the proteins found in breast milk? Why don't more infant formula companies have their own factories instead of outsourcing their manufacturing? We wondered the same thing. So we made ByHeart, a better formula for formula. Learn more at byheart.com.